Update. My ex says I got her pregnant. We only been intimate once, but the paternity results say something else. Original story. It says I, 24 male, am the father. We went to this lab that do prenatal paternity tests. At first I thought she, 22 female, was saying BS because I dumped her. Then 3 weeks later she's telling everyone she's pregnant and that I broke up with her because of that, since according to her I didn't want to be a father. Then made it worse when I was saying there's no way it's my kid because we only did it once over 4 months ago. She says she's barely 10 weeks. What's freaking me out is it says I'm the father. So either she found a way to tamper with the results or she did something to me. As in before we broke up, we'd sometimes spend the night at each other's apartments. I'm really worried since I take trazodone at night due to my insomnia problem, which leaves me knocked out completely. I don't want to think maybe she did something, but what else could it be? It sounds crazy, I know, but we literally have not slept together for months. I would remember an important detail like that. Then the way she's been acting, she has this told you so look on her face, and that's made her blow up on me even more online. About being a coward the whole time, but now there's proof I'm the father refusing to take responsibility. All my friends and my family that were on my side saying she's crazy are doubting me now when I told them there's no way the baby's mine. I don't know what to do about it now. Is it possible she figured out how to mess with the results, or is it possible she did what I think she did? How do I confront her about that? I'm not ready for kids. Edit to add more info. I know the last time we did it was May 15th. I know it was this date because we barely came back from the movies and still have the ticket. And since other people keep assuming, yeah, I did use a rubber, which is another reason why I was completely sure there was no way the baby was mine. Especially when there was already an ultrasound that said she's about 10 weeks pregnant now. That's why it's super confusing to me. It's why I can't stop freaking out about this. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Get another paternity test from another location and have the results sent to you. And get a lawyer. And get another test from a different lab. And talk to your doctor about the effects of the prescription you were taking. Could it affect your memory? Could you have had done it and not remember? Is it obvious that you're drugged or not? I hope she didn't do it with you when you were out of it. That would be awful. If it's obvious you were medicated, then it would have been a crime. It's also possible that she thought it was consensual while medicated. I've seen roommates do crazy things in Ambien and have no knowledge the next day. One made roughly 6 muffins and asked me where they came from. We had sat at the kitchen talking while they were baking, and I had no idea she was on something. Yet another one sat at the end of my bed and told me how she was queen of the gummy bears and a piece of melted cheese. Ambien is a hell of a medicine. If you are unsure of the results, contact the lab and ask for a copy of the test results directly from them. Or wait until the baby is born and get a paternity test. If the results say you are a dad, be there for your child. Is it possible that this one maybe made a mistake with the results? I can try calling a guess. Someone else suggested going to a different clinic to see if the results came back saying something else or if it is for sure. And now for the update. Wasn't sure about updating after my last post, but thought screw it. I already posted this far about my life. I found another place and asked her if she could do another test. Of course, she was all pissed, but she agreed because, whatever, it's your money. My worst fear still came true, even though I wanted to double check in case the last place messed up. Results still came back that I'm the father, and it was sent directly from them to my email. This time I had a really serious talk with my ex, because the last ultrasound she had they were able to say how far along she was, which is way off the last time we've been intimate. She kept telling me we did it around the time she got pregnant, but she wouldn't give me any details about when or how, because it's not her fault I don't remember. According to her, we were already in bed and ended up doing it. I asked her stuff like what I was telling her, who started it, because I sure as hell don't remember any of that. Every time I went to bed, I'm knocked the hell out after taking my medication, because I got work in the mornings and can't be up late. I was nervous about asking this, but I needed to know. So I asked her was I already asleep or like did I wake up and wanted to do it. She didn't want to tell me anything. All she ended up telling me was, I was hard, wasn't I? Then that she's done talking about it, so I better accept it already because no one's gonna believe me anyways, and there's nothing I can do about it. The way she said it though, and how she was looking at me, her freaking smirk pissed me the hell off, but also got me anxious at the same time. Only thing I could say was, good luck taking care of the baby on her own. She can come at me with a child support, but it's not gonna be a lot, and I'm not gonna be involved at all, so she should think about what she's gonna do. My ex wanted to talk more about that because I need to help too. But that's all I could tell her, and she's not gonna change my mind, even if she decides to say more crap about me to everyone. Everything's been awful so far. Have a list of people on my family and also some friends that I've blocked for now. My stomach's still been acting up from all the stress. It's been a lot going on, and all I'm hoping is she realizes she's gonna be on her own and decide not to go through with it. So she did it with you while you were asleep to get pregnant? Pretty sure that's a crime. Basically what she said, yeah, but I wouldn't have any way to prove that. It's my word against hers, and I don't know if I have the energy to get into that too, on top of everything else. It doesn't matter if you can prove it. I would consult with a lawyer and with the police, and I would let everyone who was giving me a hard time know that she violated you in your sleep after you were medicated, and then she admitted it to you. And that you are not a liar. And if she won't admit it now, of course she won't, but she baby-trapped you and you're not planning on cooperating. You can at least ask for the courtesy of support, because many people don't have any sympathy for male victims. I would get some therapy, and definitely even if you can't get full satisfaction, explore your options in terms of the fact that you were exploited and violated. This really sounds like she forced you, and she knows it with that smirk. Yeah, tell her good luck raising this kid on her own. You're right. You do not have to be involved at all as long as you pay child support. Hell, there are ways you can even get out of that. I'd consider having another convo with her about that night, record it, and report her to the police. She's an offender. Basically, she forced you. Just because you were hard does not mean you consent. I know it will be impossible to prove, but that's what happened. I am sorry she did this to you. Yes, you will be ordered to pay child support, but you legally have no responsibility to the child. I'd inform your friends and family what happened. Let them know, yes, it may be my kid because she did it with me while I was asleep. Have you considered filing a police report for this crime? I don't see the point. She's right. No one's gonna believe me. Next story is titled, My Fiancé Cheated on Me. I'm 32 female, been with my fiancé 33 male for 5 years. We were supposed to get married last August, but made a tough decision to postpone our big day until August of 2022 because a lot of our older family members had expressed concerns with flying and being around a crowd of people. I met him at work. We are both hairstylists at a higher-end salon. It's not a really creative environment. Occasionally you'll get someone who wants rainbow hair, but other than that is very generic colors and cuts. Like 9 months ago, he told me he was feeling really depressed and stagnant at work and wanted to quit and work in a more creative environment. I supported him, and he started working at a new salon within the month. Literally everyone who works there is in their early to mid-20s besides him. Instantly, he was so much happier. And within a few weeks, he expressed his desire to start trying for a family and wanted me to come off the pill. I told him I thought it would be better to wait a little while, preferably after the wedding, because he wasn't bringing in the same money he used to. Some of his clients followed him, but the majority didn't, so his book/money was cut in half. His birthday is in May, and he brought up trying again. And now he's in a good place at work and the timing is right. I agreed to come off birth control, not really trying or prevent it, thinking it would take months to get pregnant. I get pregnant in June, 20 weeks and 4 days, and we're both excited for the next chapter of our lives together. July changes his hours and starts working more. And it tells me it's because he wants to be able to have money set aside for the baby, because I won't be working for 6 to 8 weeks after birth. I don't think anything of it, and think it's sweet that he's trying to provide for the baby. 2 weeks ago, he sits me down crying, telling me he messed up. I'm thinking he got fired, but said he cheated on me with his 20-year-old apprentice/stylist under him. I was in complete shock, because this is what he wanted. He told me it's been going on since he found out I was pregnant, because all of a sudden things he thought about just got really real, and he couldn't handle it. I told him I couldn't deal with all this now, and he needed to get out and stay with friends or family. He's been calling and texting me nonstop and apologizing, wanting to work on things, but he won't quit. I don't trust him and don't think I can unless he leaves his jobs and isn't around her all the time. I've talked to my therapist about this, and I really don't know what the right answer is here. I'm not pissed. I'm hurt. He's going to be in my life forever one way or another. I told him I'm 99% sure this is something I can't get over. I'm really trying my hardest to stay calm for the baby's sake, because I know stress isn't good and can lead to issues. Any advice would be great. Him not being involved is not an option. I would never be that cruel. He'll be a great father, as is good with kids. So he begs you to have a baby. You get pregnant, and he reacts by starting an affair with his apprentice? Not really a guy can trust when under pressure, is he? It makes no sense to me either. I've been racking my head for a while since I found out. He maybe trapped you. You said yourself that you've been trying to figure out a way to make things work because you're having his baby. That's what he was banking on. He wanted to cheat on you and figured that he could get away with it if he impregnated you. This was 100% premeditated so he could get away with having an affair. Throw him away. You can do better. You said you're 99% sure you can get over this. And that's all the advice you need. You aren't required to forgive him. You aren't required to get over it. You aren't required to give it a try. You don't have to try to trust him again even if he leaves his new job. You don't. Your only requirement is doing whatever it is you feel deep down. And that 99% is what you feel. So powerful. You're right. I've been frantically trying to figure out a way to make this work and try and trust him because a baby is involved, when deep down I already know this is over. It felt good to type that. In case you're hesitating, I wanted to tell you a bit. My parents stayed together for years, mostly for us, despite the fact that they're two very incompatible people. They resented each other a lot, and most of the time that fell on me and my sister. They being together didn't make things easier for us. It made them a million times harder. My parents decided to officially separate some years later, and it was the best decision they could have taken. I love them both deeply, and as their son, it's a joy to have seen them flourish outside of their relationship. My dad has gone calmer, gone to therapy, and has matured a great deal, while my mom has let her creativity run free and now has a partner who is a great fit for her. They're still partners, in a sense. They get along well, despite a few hitches here and there, but they're friends, and we're still very much a family. If you stay together and resent him, your kid is going to be able to sense that, and it's going to affect them. Do what your heart is telling you to do, and you're going to set a very powerful example for your kid, as well as giving them the gift of growing up with peace of mind. You're going to be a wonderful mom. Now for the last story. My 14 female daughter 18 female just told me she and her boyfriend 18 male are pregnant. Her boyfriend's parents think my daughter should drop out of college to work to support her son and their baby because he has a full athletic scholarship. How can I try to help my daughter stay in school? My daughter and her boyfriend have been together since freshman year in high school. Now they are freshmen in college. When my daughter told her father and I that she is pregnant, she also told us that she and her boyfriend are going to get married before the baby comes. I do think they are good together, so I'm not upset by that. I've known his mom since college. We are friends. She thinks her son should finish college because he has a full athletic scholarship. As a student athlete, he is not allowed to have a job. I think that him finishing is smart, but I don't want my daughter to have to drop out of college completely. I could let them live with us as we have room in the house. I unfortunately couldn't babysit more than the 2 days I'm off work. My husband and I have always dreamed that our daughter would be the first to go to college for a bachelor's degree. Both my husband and I work trades, so we never went to college. I cut hair and my husband is an auto mechanic. Our daughter is very smart, and we are very proud. We don't have a ton of money, but I would help any way I can. What should I do here? Now for the top advice. I just want to chime in and say please do whatever you can to convince your daughter to stay in school. My mom got pregnant with me at 19 while she was in college and married my dad. My dad's side of the family did everything they could to convince my mom to drop out so she could take care of me full time. I'm so thankful that she didn't drop out, since without her job, she would have never been able to leave him. Your daughter can look into online schooling, hybrid schooling, benefits for single moms for daycare subsidies, etc. But please make sure she looks into all of her options before she makes a decision to drop out. Her education is the one thing that no one will ever be able to take away from her. I would research what is available to single moms versus married before they tie the knot. There can be quite a lot available by way of scholarships, bursaries, and government assistance for single moms, and often it all goes away if she's married, financially stable or not. Agree. I chose not to get married. It helped me in the long run. My husband and I are still together 14 years after getting pregnant. Definitely a sticky situation. They're both babies and should both stay in school. What would happen if she drops out and works, and 4 years from now the boyfriend leaves her? I'm not saying he will, but she has to really think about every possibility. Will she regret dropping out 10 years from now or grow to resent the child? You should encourage your daughter to stay in school. She's lucky to have supportive parents like you and your husband. Make sure she understands the long-term financial responsibilities of a child and what it means to have a baby. That's the most you can do. Yes, that is exactly what I'm worried about too. I don't think it's like that, but you never know. So what exactly is the father sacrificing in this situation? I can name 3 things she might be sacrificing to have this baby before we bring up her education. 1, her physical body. 2, possibly mental health. I have had PPD and it's awful. 3, possibly her health, as many things can happen during pregnancy. Never mind all of the horrible pregnancy symptoms she'll have to endure. This whole post about his parents and him basically deciding for her without really saying how the dad will contribute or how his life will change from the baby rubs me the wrong way. How much of this was actually her decision without future in-laws talking in her ear? I'm not trying to be a jerk, but this feels too one-sided. So, they probably shouldn't get married so she can stay in your health insurance. Let them move in. Some universities have daycares on campus. She can plan for online classes and take a lighter load when the baby's due. Also have her take CLEP courses for basics. They're like $80 a test and she gets full credit. Our kids are homeschooled and started college as sophomores this way. There are ways for her to keep going with the baby. The problem is, will daddy step up or will he just pawn all the work on her? Update. Would I be the a-hole for refusing to babysit my boyfriend's daughter while her mother gets chemotherapy? Original post. I'm very angry at the moment, so forgive any mistakes. My boyfriend, male mid-30s, has a daughter Gina, 10, with his ex-wife, Tess, and the ex-wife is fighting a very aggressive form of brain cancer. Now, a bit of backstory. Tess and I never did get on well. I met my boyfriend while he was in the process of getting divorced, and I think she's always thought we had an affair long before then. She hates me a lot, and so does Gina. I've been called a homewrecker, a slut, and other nice things ever since I first met them. Now, my boyfriend is usually very quick to shut down their BS, but he adores his daughter and still cares about his ex-wife as they've been together 15 years and been friends since their childhood. Ever since the diagnosis, he's been the one driving ex-wife to medical appointments and such, and has asked me the favor to look after his daughter while he's with Tess. He knows what a huge favor it is, and has thanked me profusely every time, and I know how much he needs my help. But everything went downhill a few hours ago when I was asked to bring Gina back to her mother's house. Tess started saying I must be glad she's dying, because I can keep boyfriend to myself now. She said I must be happy because now I get to keep her daughter and pretend she's mine. She said a lot of ugly things as well, and boyfriend didn't do anything to correct her. I stayed really quiet because, to be frank, I was incredibly shocked. Still am, to be honest. When we got home, I lost it with him and told him I wouldn't keep his daughter any longer, not if he allowed Tess to talk to me in such a manner. He said I'd be a huge a-hole if I went through with this because Tess has just found she's only got few weeks left, and not the months she'd previously thought. Is he right? Would I be the a-hole if I stopped babysitting his daughter? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Oh boy, you're in a difficult situation for sure. Do you love this man? You know that with this man comes his child, right? And how you behave now will determine how his child responds to you in the future, presuming you want a future with your boyfriend after this. You are not obligated to sit and take crap, no matter where it is coming from. Do you understand, though, this likely isn't a real her. She's literally grappling with life and death, not to mention a likely mind/mood-altering brain tumor that could have been there for years. And the amount of pain she must be in emotionally, knowing she won't be there for her daughter, must be driving her crazy. Ever seen the movie Stepmom? This is your choice, though. You don't have to take it. You would not be the a-hole to step away altogether. Just don't expect to stay in that relationship if you refuse to watch his daughter. This feels like a deal breaker for you both. I only want to add that it appears she was disrespectful to Opie before the diagnosis. This should be in highlights. It's unfortunate terminal illness does not make patients saints. More of her true self showed us all. But seriously, Opie, you will never be happy with this man. Gina won't let you. Move on. I understand that both Tess and Gina and even the ex-husband are hurting. Brain cancer is a terrible condition. However, Tess did not like Opie before the disease, and she made that clear in what she said. Gina, 10, will equate being nice to Opie as being disloyal to her mom. Gina at 10, losing her mom, should be first in her father's life for many years to come. That is why for the peace of everyone and for a happier life, I hope you should move on. There are no a-holes here. This is so far above AITA's pay grade. A dying mother lashing out at the most convenient target. And brain cancer? This is 100% affecting her ability to filter and regulate what she says. A partner watching the mother of his child, someone he once loved, die. He's with you and doesn't want to make this harder on anyone. A child caught in the middle of all this. And you, with your very valid feelings of being unfairly treated. You need to find a grief therapist now. One that you can talk to, one that boyfriend and daughter can go to. This is going to be a very rough ride. No a-holes here. Nope. Boyfriend is definitely an a-hole for not standing up for her and allowing that kind of treatment. Tess has been rude even before she found out she only has a few weeks. Tess has an aggressive form of brain cancer. I presume she had a tumor or granulomas before she was officially diagnosed. Maybe for a long time. I know AITA is the place to come for snap judgments and moral desserts, but a person with brain cancer is not the enemy you want her to be, even if she was aggressive before her diagnosis. Not the a-hole, but I don't see your relationship surviving much longer. I would nope out of that toxic mess. Boyfriend is numb and has no boundaries. Stepkid is using you as an emotional tampon. And the ex, if she passes, you will be fighting a ghost with an angry preteen. Save yourself, OP. Healing wishes to all. Edit/update. So, thanks. I've read all your comments and thought about all the points you made. I will continue to look after the kid. To be honest, I think I never had any actual intentions of stopping. In my anger, I just wanted my boyfriend to listen to me for a moment, and I think I need to have a chat with my boyfriend. I haven't seen him yet since the fight because he's had to go back at his exes shortly after. We'll see. Maybe I'll do an update once things settle down. Thank you again. I really appreciate your help. Edit. Thanks for taking the time to share your opinions, folks. I am very surprised and grateful and appreciates everyone's insight. I'm a bit more level-headed at the moment, so I'll take the time to expand on some points I've seen brought up in the comments. No, my boyfriend and I did not have an affair. I can't believe I have to say this. Their divorce was almost finalized when we met, and the reason they divorced was that they'd been growing more and more distant, to the point where ex-wife had an extramarital affair and boyfriend didn't even care. I trust him because he's shown me again and again the truthfulness of his words. His daughter was always going to be part of my life. I knew that since the very beginning. My boyfriend and his daughter have always been very, very close. We sat down a while ago, after ex's diagnosis, and talked it out. There was no doubt his daughter was always coming to live with us after his mother's death. And one thing, I love my boyfriend, and so I care deeply about the people he loves too, which include his daughter. I care for the kid a lot, and have tried and was always going to keep trying to build a relationship with her. It's the daughter who wants nothing, and I repeat, nothing to do with me. I am under no delusions about what our future will be like. The kid has always been my boyfriend's priority and rightfully so, and I know she's going to need her dad a lot after her mother passes. I also know my boyfriend is going to be grieving heavily and was ready to support him fully. My boyfriend was able to just stand there and watch as his ex-wife spouted so much anger and sheer hatred at me that I was struck dumb about. I have never seen anything like it, and he just stood there, watching me in tears as this woman kept yelling and yelling. He didn't do a thing, not even guide me out of the room. It felt much like a betrayal, to be honest, and the fact that he was not even a bit understanding afterwards has made me reconsider pretty much everything. I'm sorry, but I cannot excuse completely ex-wife for her past behavior. Boyfriend says she's always been very headstrong and jealous and he never found anything weird with her. But her behavior started changing around 6 months ago, and we all started noticing then. Now for the full update. I don't know whether someone even remembers my original post, but I received lots of great advice in the comments and I figured I owe you guys an update. Lots has happened in the meanwhile, so I'll try to keep it short. First, I sat my boyfriend down for a chat as soon as I saw him again, which was the day following our discussion. He agreed that we needed to talk, and told me he was sorry for calling me an a-hole, that he had been so much in shock that he hardly even remembered the whole fight in the first place. I told him I could understand that, and told him I love him and wanted to be there for him and support him throughout this ordeal. I also added, though, that I would need him to be able to stick up for me in the future, even against his daughter, who would be grieving and in a lot of pain. I told him to think about it and let me know, and also said that I would keep his daughter for as long as he needed me to, independently from his answer. He then asked me to marry him on the spot. No ring or anything, but he was crying and it was very sweet. So now we're engaged and relatively happy. Second, Tess passed away a week later. I followed your suggestion and didn't see her again. Gina is living full-time with us now, and I have what I think are, if not good, then hopeful news. 10 days after her mother's death, she broke down in hysterics because she wanted her mom. It was an incredibly sad moment. She kept yelling insults at me and crying and again yelling at me. I was in tears because seeing a child in that much pain is truly heart-wrenching. So I intervened before my fiancé could say anything, told Gina that I couldn't bear to see her so distressed and that I would go stay with a friend until she felt a bit better, that I loved her and just wanted her to be less sad. She ran to me, hugged me, and begged me to not leave her. We cried together, and I think we might be on the road to healing. That is to say, thank you Reddit folks for your feedback. You're awesome. So happy to read the last paragraph of your update. It's incredibly sad for all of you. And after what Tess put you through, even though she must have been very distressed to be dying, leaving such a young kid without a mother, you're incredibly strong and good to the core to still handle it the way you are. I hope you managed to build a strong relationship with Gina and have a happy marriage. Not to mention that it was brain cancer, which, like memory loss illnesses, affects a person's personality as they degrade and the disease progresses. I feel so bad for them that they may never know if those words were the disease or how she actually felt. Both are awful. In her original post, Opie covers that. She said something along the lines that Tess didn't like her and made it known to her, accusing Opie and her boyfriend, now fiancé, of having an extramarital affair since they hooked up at the tail end of Tess's and the boyfriend's divorce. It wasn't until 6 months before the post that Tess got malicious about it, and it was just a short while later that Tess was diagnosed with a brain tumor. So it appears that Tess always felt that way about Opie. The cancer just exacerbated it. Opie, please check if there's a kid griefs group in your area. It helps many kids to realize they are not alone in this. And if she wants, make sure she has a good picture of her mom in her room. Make sure she knows she can talk of her. And look that she gets enough mementos of her mother. Sometimes women have different thoughts about what they would like to have from their moms than men. Better keep few things more than not enough, if possible. Good luck to all of you. I second this, and I'd also like to recommend you look into something a little more alternative like art therapy if it's available, and if she's maybe slower to open up. I did art therapy as a kid when some rough stuff happened, and it was immediately helpful. And I've also known people who got a lot out of things like equine therapy. Kids sometimes need a slightly different approach. It might take a little time to find what jives with her, but it's worth it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not asking my sister if I should adopt? This will require some backstory. I, 27 female, and my husband, 26 male, have been married for a little over 3 years. 2 years ago, we began trying to get pregnant. We then moved on to attempting to get pregnant through fertility treatments. When none of this worked, we decided we wanted to pursue adoption. All my husband's siblings are adopted, and it was something we had been thinking about pursuing even before our fertility issues, but now it seemed like the best route for us to pursue. We did lots of research, including attending seminars and contacting multiple different agencies. We ended up deciding on an agency we liked. Since then, we have been going through the home study process and beginning stages of joining the agency, and recently we reached the final stage before we can begin the matching process. Throughout all this, my parents and sisters have been supportive, but clearly aren't sure how to talk to me about it. I have tried not to overwhelm conversations with talking about it, but it is a huge part of my life at the moment. Though I have tried to be especially sensitive to one of my older sisters who is infertile, as I know she has struggled in the past. Well, over the last few months, I haven't heard from this sister at all. She's known for being hard to get in contact with, so I tried not to read into it too much. But I was aware she was talking to my parents and our other sister. I finally heard from her yesterday when she called me. During the call, she expressed that it is hard to hear about the adoption stuff, which I understand, but then she started telling me that she and my other sister have been frustrated, that they were not asked for their opinions before we started the adoption process. She then proceeded to say we always come to just tell them what we are doing and already have our minds made up, so they feel they can't share their thoughts and things. She went on to question whether we understand how much harder raising an adopted child is, rather than one you give birth to, and asking if we aren't too young to be doing this. I was honestly shocked to hear all of this. I have never had a type of relationship with my sisters where I go to them for advice. So hearing that they don't understand why they weren't part of my decision process made no sense to me. So am I the a-hole for not asking their opinion? Extra context. My sister's husband is adopted and struggles greatly with it. They're considering going through adoption themselves one day though, so to be clear, they are not against adoption. Now for the top comments. As an adopted kid myself, and I almost never see people actually listening to adopted people when this topic comes up, your sisters are absolutely delusional. And honestly, probably not very good people. I 100% believe someone who would treat an adopted kid differently than a bio kid, and that's what she's saying, is a trash person. Not the a-hole. And look into the kid's book The Day You Were Born by Jamie Lee Curtis. Fantastic kid's book about adoption. And never lie to your kid about where they came from. Never get weird if they have questions about their bio family, etc. Thank you so much for the book recommendation. I will definitely get it. We would never lie to our future child about their adoption. It is a part of their story and they have every right to know. Adoptive parent here, and I just want to jump onto Pineapple's excellent comment and help reinforce it. If you adopt those who are going to be your kids and they'll have their own story, it's hugely important that they are brought up knowing that story too. As you go through the process, look into whether you have pediatricians in your area who specialize in adoption medicine. Ours did, and was an excellent source of support and referrals to other specialists and therapists when our kids were growing up. Not the whole. If, when, and how you and your partner decide to grow your family is 100% up to you and your partner. Other people can have, and I suppose share their opinions on your choices, but you are in no way obligated to seek out their opinions or factor their opinions into your decision. I'm not sure why your sister is taking your decision so personally, but what she's saying to you does not really make sense. And I would not take what the sister said about your other sister agreeing with her at face value. No matter if/when/how you grow your family, people are going to have thoughts about it. Anyone who is obnoxious or pushy about it, feel free to distance yourself from them. But if there are people butting in that you want to maintain contact with, you need to set boundaries. First time someone questions your decision, I hear your concerns and understand that you may have a difference of opinion on this matter. However, husband and I have made this decision together, and we are not interested in debating the matter with others. We do not need you to support or agree with our decision, but we do need you to accept that it is our decision to make. If you don't want to be included in updates as we move forward, we will respect that. Second time they question your decision, you made your thoughts on this clear when we last spoke about it. However, as I told you before, our decision is final, and we are not interested in debating this with others. Anytime after that, we are not going to discuss this with you. If you cannot respect our decision, we will need to keep our distance from you going forward.